of Supervillains and Paternity Test by One Little Birdie Sitting on the Sill. Link in the description. Summary. Midoriya Izuku is just getting settled into life in the dorms as a rising hero, comfortable in his knowledge of Eri-chan's safety. Then someone collapses the roof of the dorms and Aizawa Sensei shows them the newly rewound identity of All for One. And he has freckles. Oi, nerd! Izuku cuts himself off in the midst of a long-winded explanation of Hawk's heroism to Todoroki and wheels around, beaming. Hi, Kachan! How are you? What do you think you're doing walking in front of me, huh? He snaps, and Izuku giggles. Sorry, we'll walk next to you then. Todoroki makes a face that Izuku has to actively keep from reacting to. I didn't say, Yo, Midor! Todoroki, Bakubro! Suddenly Kirishima's by them as well. Izuku grins at him, and at the way Kachan gets twice as defensive immediately. Hi, Akiri. The usage of nicknames had certainly pissed Kachan off. It was funny to watch how emotionally constipated he was. This doesn't happen that often, now does it? Todoroki says dryly, and he was right. They didn't usually end up walking to school together, like, ever. Maybe it's 'cause we're so close to UA? Or maybe because our dorms got destroyed for the first time in a while, dipshit? Kachan growled, and well, he was not wrong. It's fate, Izuku croos, to lighten the mood, and Kachan stiffens. Shut up, Deku. His ears are pink. But Kachan, what are the odds? Bakubo, Kirishima interjects, hanging off him. It's totally fate. Bullshit. They walk into the classroom like that, moments before the late bell. Aizawa unzips himself from his yellow sleeping bag, and Izuku scatters his time to wave at Uraraka and Ida before he takes a seat and is ready for class. Good morning to all of you, Aizawa Sensei says, but it sure doesn't seem like a good morning to him. I should have announced this under her breath, and Izuku chokes on his laughter. Aizawa Sensei turns to them, eyes squinting suspiciously, and Izuku settles for shaking silently under his weight of his giggles. Ashido gives him a triumphant thumbs up when Aizawa Sensei isn't looking. Good morning, Sensei, the class says in unison, and the excitement in the air is plausible. That's why Izuku loves coming here now. He didn't know if anyone felt the energy, but it was so much nicer than going through online courses just to be here. Granted, the online courses did make sense in light of someone blowing up their dorms, but you couldn't learn to be a hero like that. And he was training to be a hero. How absolutely great was that? As you all may know, we had to have you all go to your homes to sleep because someone destroyed their dorms rather easily. Aizawa Sensei says, bluntly, and Izuku freezes, as does the rest of the class. So then it was intentional? Kaminari asked, disbelieving. Izuku had had his suspicions, but he also thought it was perhaps some scuffle between hero and villain that landed some ill-placed rubbled. Well, it's not like much else could have caused the ceiling to just cave in on itself like that, Ojiro mutters. It was definitely attack. We're fortunate that no one got hurt, even if your rooms are looking worse for wear, Izuku insists. Some of his posters and figures were beyond saving. Luckily, he left the most valuable ones at home. It still sort of stung, though. It was intentional? Seriously? They scream as one. Aizawa nods, looking 8 years old. We have video evidence, but that's the least worrying of news. The class goes silent, and Izuku feels a bile creep up his throat. What could have possibly happened? I'm sure you all heard that the intern students here, namely Midoriya, Asu, and Uraraka, were directly involved in saving of a little girl. Izuku does not like where this is going. The class nods cautiously. That little girl's power is rewind. She could turn living things back and go as far as unmaking them. Dead silence. Izuku gulps. All for One has escaped from prison. Fuck. What? How do those correlate, Aizawa Sensei? Kido? Sue asked quietly, confused coloring her voice. Izuku knows. Izuku had realized. The most powerful supervillain in the world just escaped prison and broke into where they were taking care of Eri-chan, the little girl who can rewind people, which means All for One is now at full power after utilizing his quirk. Aizawa Sensei says slowly, and Izuku's standing before he knows it. He didn't hurt her, did he? he asks, and his voice trembles in fury. After all they've gone through, after All Might's sacrifice? No, actually, Aizawa Sensei says, his poker face still in place. Apparently he merely asked her to use her quirk on him, and she was afraid, but he apparently said something to calm her down. Izuku hisses, his exhale through his teeth. Sitting down, harshly enough that his desk moves forward, Aizawa looked down at all of them and rubbed the bridge of his nose. So he just came here afterwards and didn't kill us? Nothing? The ceiling collapse wasn't anywhere deadly. There's something wrong here. As stupid as I think it is, we're working on fortifying the dorms further, which means you'll be out of them for tonight as well. Aizawa looks at them. And because All for One is a pretentious prick, we'll have photos of him and security tapes that will let us know if he tries to approach any of you. The tension is high and thick in the air. Izuku almost can't get enough into his lungs. If All for One approached them, they would be all dead, and everyone knows it. No one had to think back to Kamino to know. Can we see the damn pictures? Kachan says, finally, unusually subbed, breaking the silent air. Yes, Aizawa opens a laptop, sighs, and connects it to the projector. You all should get as far away as possible in the event that this man is sighted anywhere near you. Just to be sure, we'll be keeping you here overnight, and all your parents have been placed in witness protection. No one mentions that it won't do anything if All for One is truly determined, not when All Might is retired. The photo is buffering, and Izuku yawns, feeling strangely detached. His coffee hadn't kicked in. Eventually, or maybe it was the fact that the whole world was effectively crashing down at his fate. Then the picture loads, and Izuku looks up so quickly his neck cracks. Freeze. He looks kind of normal, Uraraka murmurs absently, eyes widen in horror. The breath gets caught in Izuku's throat as he stares at the face looking back at him in utter disbelief, because that can't be right. Then it comes out in a erratic crackle a few moments later. Kachan in front of him is very, very still, for good goddamn reason, because Izuku's life is a bad comedy. Amber eyes, black hair. Midoriya, I'd like to remind you that this is absolutely the most dangerous man in the world, and he is targeting UA. What exactly is making you laugh? Aizawa asked dryly, his eyes tired. Izuku faintly feels the eyes of his classmate on him, and his laughter pitches upwards, bubbling out of him uncontrollably. Perhaps what is the most surprising thing is that one Bakugo Katsuki has gone completely pale, clutching the sides of his desk. The room is dead quiet except for Izuku's hysterical giggles. Kachan, Izuku says as Kacha turns, looking at him, face pale, sweat on his forehead. Kachan, look, he says, giggling. There's no fucking way. Kachan whispers, and Izuku agrees. Very, very much so. Do you recognize this man? Aizawa Sensei says, with something akin of horror in his voice, because no teenager should recognize the man standing there. And what if he'd been rewound to Kamono and Izuku thought he was dead? Izuku hadn't seen the resemblance when he was a child, not at all, but now looking at the man in the picture with the smile, the curls, and the Deku, what the fuck? Kachan asked, and Izuku really doesn't know either. Midoriya? That Todoroki Izuku. Midoriya? That's Todoroki, Izuku thinks, but pays no mind as more uncontrollable disbelief laughter spills into his lap. Kachan, he hiccups, and then Kachan turns, eye wide. I have his freckles. The class pauses, and it gets so quiet you could drop a pin. Everyone turns to the photo as Izuku tangles his hand in his curls. I have his fucking freckles and his jawline and his hair. Kachan, that's... What are you saying? Aizawa says. Because he doesn't get it. Haven't seen the scumbag in years, Kachan says, and his voice shakes, uncharacteristically so. Izuku laughs again, hysterical tears prickling his eyes. Yeah, look what he's been up to, eventually, he says, throwing his hands in out and standing up again. Overseas my fucking ass. You have his fucking smirk, Deku, Kachan says, eyebrows wide, and Izuku laughs harder, tears prickling at the edge of his eyes. Any time he was using an overconfident persona he made the face that he was on screen. My father is fucking 200 years old, Kachan. That's so nasty. Oh my god. Kachan leaned back in his seat, barking out a snot laugh as he pressed at his eyes with the heels of his palm, only to continue choking on laughter. They laughed together in utter disbelief. His father's worst enemy's face was on Izuku's sheets when he was a baby. Only fucking you, Deku. Only you could get into this bullshit. I'm going to call the principal, Aizawa Sensei says, a degree of utter horror in his voice. Yeah, Izuku's voice cracked. Yeah, maybe we should. Maybe we should tell All Might too? Who are you, mister? Asked little Eri, waverly and shaking. She shrinks close to her bed. Maybe the man is just a nightmare. Hello, Eri. Could you do me a favor? I don't know you. Deku said not to talk to strangers. Oh, you know Deku Midoriya Izuku? Mm-hmm, he saved me. Well, Eri-chan, I'm Izuku's dad. Do you think he could help me out? Like a hero? Oh, I'll be a hero like Deku. I'll help. Thank you, Eri-chan. This was absolutely hilarious to record. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm tired from rehearsals from the play, and sitting down and recording this absolutely funny fanfic has cured my depression. Oversees my ass has to be my favorite line from this whole fanfic. From any fanfic, actually. I I love that. Make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds, and have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching.